We're here with Jonny Rutherford at WPR Farms. We're gonna discuss oilseed rape establishment, but your general policies on the farm, Jonny. So, if you wanted to just sort of go through how rape fits in as part of your rotation now and where you've come from, just as a general starting point, please.
Yeah, so we're farming just in Bedlington, Northumberland, farming across Northumberland and just into Durham through a mixture of, we've got farming at home here and various contract farming agreements and renting land as well, growing wheat, barley, oats, oilseed rape, beans. We do still manage to quite successfully grow oilseed rape. I know there's obviously things that have happened in the industry that made it a lot harder for a lot of people in certain parts of the country. We are still growing it probably 1 in 5 to 1 in 6 years.
Has it always been that 1 in 5, 6, or did it used to be a bit more frequent?
A bit more frequent, you know, and now we're sort of a bit more careful. We don't really have any club root issues. We have had, last year we had this very small amount of club root that we noticed in a block of land that we hadn't seen it before. I think club root varieties now are a lot better than they have been, and we're going to look at probably having a go at growing some of them, but certainly they're not as far behind some of the conventional hybrids as they have been in the past. So that's probably something we'll look at doing more of.
Talk me through, if you wouldn't mind, where you started from. So very much more traditional plough, lots of tillage, and then this has obviously saved you a lot of passes and field and everything else. What do you think it's improved the emergence and establishment as well? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we started growing oilseed rape in probably the early 90s. Back then it was, as like a lot of people were, everything was ploughed, it was power harrowed, it was, you know, combi drilled or drilled. Then moved to a sort of flat lift, then disc system, and then again probably a power harrow or combi drill. We then progressed to the sort of solo era of the Simba equipment, and then into an SL, which would then again probably followed by a press, a uni press or a power harrow. So it was always, you know, very intensive, but we've, you know, been sort of moving with the times, I guess, like a lot of people have been, and trying to reduce it.
Depth and stuff,
reduce the depth of it and the intensity that we've been doing tillage. Certainly, moisture retention's been a big thing we've noticed. So, you know, we're getting a lot more extreme weather. Last year was a very extreme summer, which I think people are predicting we're probably going to get more of. So I think from a moisture retention point of view, that's very important to us, and it's certainly helped that. And with increasing flea beetle pressure, again, the moisture retention element I think really helps establishment and gives it the vigour for the plants to get grown. It's trying to grow away from that really vulnerable stage. Whereas when in a dry seed bed, if it germinates and comes through, it seems to just sit and wait for moisture, which is it's very vulnerable to flea beetle at that point.
And zone placement of fertiliser as well to focus on the crop.
Yeah, so it's very efficient from a lot of points of view. We can alter the height to give a different span. Currently at the height it's set up for the drilling depth, it covers 22% of the ground. So instantly that, you know, reduces your fertiliser usage by quite a lot. It also obviously financially is much better for the amount of fertiliser we're using. We're not fertilising where there isn't plants, so we're not fertilising the weeds in between or just, you know, bare soil.
You've set the crop up so that it's got the best chance, so all of the reasons you choose your different varieties, hopefully you can make the most of. So hybrid as against conventional sometimes or whatever. Yeah,
varietal choice for us is again important. I think there's obviously a huge amount of varieties, a lot of new varieties coming through. I think it very much depends on your farm, your system and where you are in the country, and you kind of, with us, we certainly have found varieties that we like and we stick with. Always been hybrid. Spring vigour for us is very, very important. Obviously autumn vigour to get it going in the autumn, but certainly where we are, we have a lot of woodland, and we get quite a lot of pigeon damage, and some of the varieties we found, the spring vigour is incredible, of just getting the plant going again in the spring, and that's always been a very important part to us.
So you're giving yourself most flexibility. It's important with the season and conditions that you get up here sometimes, isn't it?
Well, I think weather patterns just seem to be getting more extreme now, you know. Weather over a whole season it kind of seems to average out, but it's always the hottest month or the coldest month or the driest or the wettest. So, you know, it always seems to be, you know, we've had an extremely dry spring and summer last year, but we've had a very wet spring this time round. So
do you think on that score because of you want the hardiest crop, would you tend to stick with hybrids when it comes to oilseed rape?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's, again, it's what we've found works. So it's hard to go away from that, I guess. We're always trying things and trialing things, and we do want to look at other things, but you know, at the end of the day, you've got to stick with what you know works.
Yeah, and build from it.
Learn
from it. You've got the finer tilth on the top, which you're leaving there because you're not overly disturbing it. So it's a question of just, what you've got to do to get that seed placed in there. But underneath that, plenty of pathways, plenty of root channels, straw bin pulled into. It's a classic earthworm pulling straw into the burrows there. And plenty of roots all the way through. It's not just these are the most important ones because they're drawing on all of the nutrition and the moisture as well. No, they need to get it there, but these are doing a pretty good job, aren't they?
The low disturbance legs running right in front of a proper placed seed as well is so important. With the rooting with rape, it's just so vital that we think with having the leg directly in front of a properly placed seed gives it the best opportunity to get those roots down as quickly as possible.
Definitely, and if necessary, you've got drainage, haven't you, if it gets too wet as well.